What is up, boyos? I am Jake. That is Nick. This is the inaugural episode of the Loner Gamecast, I guess is what we're going to call it. We never really discussed a name, but I guess that's what we're going with today, right now. And this is the first episode, and it's also like going to be one of the juiciest episodes because there's a lot to talk about.
There's too much to talk about.
It's nutty. Before we start, we have like a whole layout of how we're going to go down things. Before we start, bit of housekeeping. I think it's important for us to just like say who we are, why we're doing this. I'm Jake. That's Nick. And we've done video game podcasts before in the past. Several of them even. But this is the first one we've done where it's just me and Nick. Yeah. And I think it's important to also make clear where our video game knowledge lies. I think it's safe to say we're both basically just like PlayStation fanboys.
PlayStation, yeah. Well,
but
obviously. I mean, but there are other things.
We both have PCs.
All of them.
We both have Switches. We both have Xboxes. So like, but we do primarily play on PlayStation, and I think it's important to make that clear up front, just to know what you're getting into here. But I want to start the show today before we get into the juicy juice with what you've been playing. What you been playing, Nick?
Well, do you want me to go through like the whole list that I have, or you just want me to do one and then you do one and I'll do one?
It doesn't matter. What you been playing, man?
I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. You know, I didn't get into that until like this year, and I was out of the Call of Duty loop, and then it was like, you know, I'll try it. I'll see how it is. It's really good, and it's got me hooked. I've also been playing Dirt Rally 2 because that was free on the PlayStation Store. I've been playing Divinity 2. I've been playing Gang Beast with you and all of our friends, and then I've been playing Ultimate Chicken Horse on those rare occasions.
Yeah, I've been playing Call of Duty as well with you, and I gotta say, I fucking hate that game. I hate it.
I don't know why, man. It feels nice.
I started up, and I just don't have fun. I get killed, and I don't know what's happening. And
well, like the biggest thing that they got right now is that shipment 24/7, and that is just hectic.
Yeah, bullshit, it's just crazy. Mayhem. If the whole game was that, I've noticed like with Modern Warfare, the new one, it's like it feels so slow if you're playing like a normal game. It feels slower than any Call of Duty I've ever played, and like not in a good way.
Especially with like the new maps and stuff. The new maps are large because, you know, they have the Warzone thing, and that's a big map. So they're just taking that kind of stuff, and I feel like they're making it. They're just putting huge sections of maps so that they can put vehicles in these smaller maps, and it doesn't work out.
It's like Battlefield almost, but like not
almost,
as good.
Almost, yeah. I agree.
Like Battlefield has that mastered on like how to add vehicles and like huge maps, but like Battlefield also has like it's like 60 on 60, where this game is like 5 on 5, but these huge ass maps.
Yeah, it's what 10 on 10 or 6v6 is what it is.
Yeah, but yeah. Battlefield was always like 60 on 60, and that's why those big ass maps work. I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, I get it. What you been playing, Jake, other than Call of Duty? There's a big one.
I've been playing the shit out of Tetris.
Yeah.
And not just like Tetris 99, because I have been playing that, but like Tetris Effect, Tetris on my phone.
Tetris on your phone. That's
Tetris on my computer. Dude, Tetris on the phone sucks. It's the worst way to play Tetris. But when you're in a pinch, you got to do what you got to do. You got to get that tet in, dude.
You got to get it in.
You got to get that Tetris in, bro.
I hear you.
It's the best game ever made. The best game. I've also been playing Persona 5, which I've beaten before. Well, it's Persona 5 Royale. I've beaten Persona 5 before, and I'm having a real hard time getting through Royale because I've already played Persona 5, and it's such a long fucking game, but it's so good. Good.
They added a whole bunch of different things. Has that not come into effect quite yet?
I mean, there is new things. Like there's this grapple hook thing, which is cool, and it seems like they've changed the combat a bit, and they've made it so like if you've ever played Persona before, there's like a thing where they force you to go to bed.
Right,
Um,
right, right.
they don't
Yeah, I played
they don't
played through
for
half of Persona 5.
they don't force you to go to bed as much. If you've never played Persona, you're like, go to bed. What the fuck? But yeah, they don't force you to go to bed as much, so you can like up your stats some more and stuff. So that's like nice. But yeah, I'm having a hard time like actually feeling committed to doing that.
Oh shit! Speaking of which, I picked up that Final Fantasy remake, and
Yeah,
I made it to the final. I'm at the final three. It's not on my list, but it should be. I made it to like the final three chapters, and I just haven't pushed myself to beat that yet, which is kind of the same sort of situation that you're in.
I've heard that. I've heard that from like so many people where they're like, "Yeah, I played it and it's great, but I can't beat it. I just can't bring myself to beat it for some reason."
Yeah,
Do,
I don't know what it is. I
While we're
don't.
on the topic, do you think like the next, because you know like they did Final Fantasy VII remake, but it's not the full game. Do you think like they're actually gonna like the next game is gonna be as well done, or do you think they're gonna like rush it out and like, or do you think they're gonna stuff the rest of the game into the next game? Like I don't know.
Well, from what I hear, the ending is right after you leave Midgar, and then at that point, it the game opens up, right? And it's like
Yeah, that's
a,
like the
a massive open world RPG at that point. I haven't played it in 15 years, kind of thing,
yeah
so I can't really say for experience. But if they are going to do that and put the same amount of detail into this open world, I feel like it's going to take them a much longer time, or it's going to be rushed out and it won't look as good.
yeah, and that's my concern is like they put so much time and effort into this one, and then the next one's going to come out and it's just going to be like this half-baked sequel,
That's
and
that's what I'm afraid of.
it's like why even call it a remake at that point? Like it's more of it's like a retelling almost. It's weird.
Yeah, there's characters that I don't remember. I don't even think they're in the game, the original game. Um, but yeah, it's completely different. But I like how they've done it so far. It's I don't remember a whole lot of it because it's been so long, but it's also really fun. Combat's really good, much better than Final Fantasy 15 in my personal opinion.
Watch this transition. It's going to be magical. You ready
Let's
for
see
it?
it. I'm ready for it.
So the original Final Fantasy VII was only on PlayStation.
Right. Well, no, it was only on PlayStation, but it was also on PC.
Oh
Sorry to
fuck.
ruin your
Oh
transition.
fuck. God damn it, he got me.
Just cut that out. Just cut it out.
He roasted me. He roasted me. This next piece of news comes from Tom Warren at The Verge.
Oh, okay.
uh, a quote from this article: Sony is officially confirming its next PlayStation 5 event will be held on Thursday, June 4th. The event will begin at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, and Sony is promising a look at the future of gaming on PlayStation 5. It will run for a bit more than an hour and feature a first look at the games you'll be playing on PlayStation 5, which launches this holiday, according to Jim Ryan, president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment. So this was like the big piece of news that we were going to be talking about, and we were going to make predictions, and we're going to have a gay old time over here.
We can still do that.
And I do want to. We could still make predictions because this is still going to happen. They have it in the vault, like they're ready to launch it whenever. But today, let's see if I can get this pulled up. Today they announced this is what they posted. We have decided to postpone the PlayStation 5 event scheduled for June 4th. While we understand gamers worldwide are excited to see PS5 games, we do not feel that right now is a time for celebration, and for now, we want to stand back and allow more important voices to be heard. Um, so before we get into like predictions, because I still think we should do that and
Yeah,
just talk about the event because it's going to
absolutely.
happen, eventually. But this is kind of a shocking piece of news. And the internet seems sort of divided on it. A lot of people are claiming, this is a a very noble thing that they're doing. Obviously, they're doing it because of all the protesting and rioting. And this isn't intended to be a political show, but sometimes politics kind of make it into video games.
especially
Um,
recently.
yeah. Um, some people are claiming, this is bullshit. Who cares? It's people rioting. And then there's people kind of in between where it's like, well, this could be viewed as, some escapism during all these trying times. Where do you stand on all that?
Ooh, well,
Yes,
this is it's
it's
a
a
loaded question right here. Like
it's a hard one to answer, isn't it?
it's a hard one to answer because I support everything that the whole George Floyd movement protests are about. I do not support the looting or the destruction of private property.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I appreciate when a company can step up and say, "Hey, we hear your voices and we hear everybody talking, and we're in support of that." And that makes it, for these big companies, it kind of puts the community as together. Like it's the big guys and the little guys both saying, "Hey, this is wrong and this is messed up." But to put something off like the PlayStation 5 announcement, kind of E3, presser that they were going to have and postpone it. We don't even have a date, I don't believe, of when it'll be rescheduled.
No.
But to put that off, I personally feel like that was my one escape of how shitty the world is right now, and how it was like something to look forward to. I was really looking forward to it, and I was like, man, this will just keep me occupied for 1 hour. A little, what did he say? It says a little over an hour. And I'm like, dope, some light at the end of the tunnel. Like there's hope. Like something I can get excited about, and I don't have to be with the riots on Reddit. All the every post you see is about
Yeah.
the riots, and it's like, yeah, that's fine, but a little bit of variety would be really nice too.
Yeah, and not only that, like coronavirus and all that shit going on right now, like it's been crazy for this whole year, and it's like finally we get this video game thing to just like, hey, there's something at the end of this year that's gonna be like pretty dope to to get your mind off of it. I mean, where I stand on it, I this was just announced, so I haven't had much time to really think about it too much, and I don't want to say anything too bad. I've definitely stated my opinions on the whole George Floyd thing on another podcast on the channel, the Jake and Corey show. But like, I'm dude, yeah, I'm with it. I'm with the George Floyd, protests. It's sometimes even riots are the right thing to do. I'm not, sometimes, but like,
Yeah, it gets the
I
word out. It's like
yeah
it really, it's like we are angry about this, and I would kind of be there if it wasn't so dangerous right now. I'm
yeah.
a freaking I'm a white guy, obviously, and I'm a huge introvert, and all I do is play
we
video games. So
we
like
also we also
that's like
live in Arizona where it's like 120 degrees
yeah,
outside.
yeah, that's true. So
but
there's no going outside
but
right
I
now.
kind of think like with the Sony event, I feel like the riots and the protesting and the Sony event are not like mutually exclusive. Like I think they can exist in tandem, and one doesn't take away from the other, but maybe Sony doesn't see it that way. And I said earlier, like it almost seems sort of like a publicity stunt, and
That's a good point.
and that's kind of not a good thing in my opinion. Like you're just doing this to look good, but it could also be like we're not going to be in the news at all. Any way you kind of slice it, it almost seems like a selfish thing for Sony to do it. But at the same time, I mean, they're a company. That's kind of their whole thing.
Right.
Um, so
I didn't think about that. That's a very good point. Just like, yeah, it's like it may not have been what they wanted to do, but the way that they have
well, I
put it
mean,
out there is like, hey, we're a good company and
yeah.
we're looking out for everybody else. So
Well, and
yeah,
like on Thursday, probably not many people would have been talking about the event, but now today, every gamer is talking about this. It's canceled.
That's
What?
true.
We don't even know, this thing comes out at the end of the year, but they haven't even put like a release date on it. They haven't said the price point. They haven't said what games are coming to it. Like we're all kind of wondering what this all is, and it's getting later and later and later. They haven't even shown the box. At least Xbox has shown their box. Like we haven't seen anything about this thing. And
Other than like the controller.
yeah, they showed the controller, and literally the reason they showed the controller is because they've been sending those controllers to dev teams and they knew it was going to get leaked. So they're like, we're just going to get ahead of it and we'll just show it. But yeah, I don't know. Like how much longer can they wait before, and like how, after all of this, how much longer are they going to hold off on this? Do you think they'll move it to just next week, or do you think they'll hold on to it for July? I know Xbox is kind of planning an event for July, so maybe they'll just do it in tandem with Xbox.
You know,
Um,
that's not a bad idea. I would love it if it just because we heard from a friend, it's not even fact checked or anything, that the George Floyd memorial service was going on the same day, and that they didn't want to take away from that. Um, I'd be totally happy if they moved it back one day or like next week. That would be what I would do as a company. But looking at it with the Xbox stuff and how they pushed it back to next month, um, it might be like a chess kind of game. Like Sony announces this, oh, uh, we were going to announce our console this month and we were going to get ahead of the game, but now we're going to wait and see what Xbox is doing just to see what their price point is. So it could go either way, honestly.
Well, I also kind of wonder if like this event was primarily just showing off games, and then they were planning another event next month to like talk about the
Mm,
console itself, its features, and like how much it was going to cost. And now they're like, well, how about we just hold on to the games, and instead of having two 1 hour conferences, we blend them together and have a 2 hour conference in July. I wonder if that's like their headspace right now. I don't know, but like we don't know what this event was going to be, if they were going to talk about the console at all, or if it was really just going to be games. I mean, they say a lot of shit all the time that that they're like, well, we're not going to talk about this, and then they end up talking about it. So I don't know. I don't
yeah,
know.
it's uh, it's one of those things that it's like we were so close, and it was like, and Sony's been pretty good at keeping everything quiet, and then it's just like, what is it going to be? We don't know. We still don't know.
Yeah. And
Um,
it also sucks because this week, I think this weekend would have been E3, right? Like this would have
ne-
been the E3 weekend this
would have been
weekend.
this weekend or
Either
next
this
weekend.
weekend or next weekend. It's like, well, at least we have this Sony event to like hold us over.
Yeah.
We don't have E3, but we have this Sony event, and now that's not even happening. This used to be like the month of gaming, and now it's like the month of
Riots
some
and
some bad shit,
protests and
or good shit. I mean,
good shit and bad shit. I
yeah,
mean, you can't have the good shit without the bad shit because
yeah.
people just take advantage. But this isn't a political show. We won't get into that.
I mean, it's fine. It's like, you know, it's true. It's tough. I just don't think those things are like mutually exclusive, and I think it's not the right call. Personally, I really don't. I feel like they should have just kept to their guns, but I respect them for doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's their call.
For us, it's not the best move.
Right.
For
It's
us
hard.
who are looking out for it, we were just like, we're so excited, and then it was just like, no, it's not going to happen until question mark,
Yeah.
But it's good for them because I've been looking at their Twitter and stuff. Everybody's in support, and there's a couple of people upset, but
Yeah. I'm not
there's
upset,
going to be.
I'm
No,
not
no, not
upset.
at all.
It's like
Not at all.
whatever. I'm gonna watch it regardless.
I'm
Do it
not
when you're.
mad.
Yeah, I'm not
I'm not
mad.
mad. I'm just disappointed.
Just disappointed. Yeah.
Just disappointed.
Yeah.
uh,
Well, if let's say it was gonna happen. Let's say it is gonna happen, and it is gonna happen eventually. Let's talk about predictions. What do you think we would have seen at this
uh,
PlayStation 5 event?
I would have said like one, maybe not like a whole big thing, but one little thing about Last of Us, because that comes out in a week, 2 weeks.
Like
So
3 weeks, I
if
think. 2 weeks.
is it three
Yeah.
weeks? The 17th, um, or something like that. I don't remember.
It's the
But
19th. Yeah.
yeah, I think they would have showed a little bit about The Last of Us just to, push those numbers a little bit. I think they would have shown maybe it probably would have been like a reel, like a Sony reel, like here's our upcoming games kind of stuff. Um, but definitely something new, an IP, probably maybe even like not a merger, but maybe a developer that they got, a new developer or something, because they do that every E3. They're like, hey, we have this new studio that's under
Yeah.
us now.
Last year it was famously Insomniac, you know.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah. Maybe they have Spider-Man 2 in development.
I
So,
think there's a couple things that I think are very possible. And like one of them, I think they probably would have shown a little bit of The Last of Us, not much, probably just like, hey, remember The Last of Us? That's coming.
that's
What
coming, yeah.
and this is a far stretch. I mean, I've heard for a while that like Naughty Dog has also been working on something else like quietly in the corner while working on The Last of Us.
Really,
Yeah, I don't remember where I heard that, so this could all just be some bullshit. But
probably uncarded.
well, what I heard is like they're working on some sort of space game.
Oh,
So
that'd be
maybe just like a little thing that just is like a logo and with a little Naughty Dog, and everyone would have been like, "Oh
oh
shit,
shit, oh shit,
what's
yeah,
this?" Or like
yeah.
maybe the space game is a new Jack and Daxter, which would be wild as fuck.
That would
Uh,
be wild.
that'd be a huge departure for them. But like one thing that I think would definitely happen, I say definitely, but maybe like a remaster of Sunset Overdrive on the PlayStation. Now
Oh,
that
you're
they
now you're pulling at my heart right there.
now that
I love that game.
now that they own Insomniac, and like we haven't seen Sunset Overdrive on the PlayStation, so maybe they could even be like, hey, this is going to be like one of our last PlayStation games, like PS4 games rather, and it's a remaster of Sunset Overdrive. It comes out in October or something.
Yeah, yeah, that would been I yeah, I could see that actually because they just got Insomniac as their own, and that was one of the best, hands down, one of the best games on Xbox.
Yeah, or
Um,
they announce Sunset Overdrive 2, which I doubt that because they're working on Spider-Man too, I'm sure.
yeah, I feel like a remaster that you could give that to another company, and then that
Or I
company
mean,
could.
you could say it's a remaster, but it's more of like a definitive edition because it's the same console generation. It's not really a remaster. It's more of a port,
Right.
right?
Yeah, it would be. Well, it
Port
wouldn't
with
even
like
be a
some extra
port. It would be,
content.
yeah, maybe DLC or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with
I
like
don't know.
some extra things thrown in. Because
I
like
like that.
that wouldn't be hard for them to do, to just like bring that game from Xbox to PlayStation and then just add a couple little bells and whistles so they can charge 60 for it again, because that's what
Right.
they do. Um, yeah,
That's a good point. I would
I
buy it though.
I'd be all over that. Yeah, I could see that happening. I am sure they would have had like Shuhei Yoshida come out and be like, "Here's all the indie games I've been working on and finding,"
That's true.
because that's
That's
like his
true.
thing now. Yeah, I feel like maybe the PS5 they're going to focus more on indie games, because I feel like the PS3 they really focused on indie games, but the PS4 they kind of haven't focused on indie games at all.
That's true. It's all been really big games. You know what I would love to see though? That just came to my head. Sorry for
No, you're good.
pulling this pulling the brakes right there. Would be a uh, PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale. Now that's Battle Royale 2. That's what I want to see.
Oh man, because it went really well the last time they did that.
Yeah, it went so well, and
Yeah, I don't think we'll see another PlayStation Battle Royale. I gotta be honest,
makes me sad.
dude. You know what would have been nuts? And this definitely wouldn't have happened. But if what if they were like the Vita 2
I
coming next year?
Yep, I'd be on that. I'd be on that like butter on a sandwich. Like, man, I would buy that day one.
What's the likelihood that we would have seen something from Gorilla like Horizon 2.
Like Horizon 2.
Or maybe they've been working on Killzone this whole time. Who
I don't.
knows?
I think Horizon did so much better than Killzone. I don't even remember the name of it.
Shadowfall, yeah.
Shadowfall. That they won't go back to that. They have this new engine and the new lighting
Sponsor.
and everything. Nice. Yeah, get you some.
It's not really a
They've
sponsor.
they have a new engine and new lighting and all this stuff for Horizon that I don't think that they would go back and update an old engine to run a new Killzone. But you never know. You
The
never know.
only
Maybe it'll be a
reason
mix of the two.
the only reason I wonder if they're working on a Killzone game, well, I've got a couple reasons. The first one is the last thing I heard was Guerrilla hired a guy who worked on Rainbow Six Siege, and
Oh,
it was like a big hire, and everyone was kind of like, "Huh, they're hiring a guy from Rainbow Six Siege. That sounds like a first-person shooter sort of thing. Maybe they're making another Killzone." The other thing is like the thing that Sony kind of in their first parties like kind of hit everything, but the only thing that they're not hitting is a first-person shooter. And with a game like Ghost of Tsushima coming out, Ghost of Tsushima seems to have like a similar vibe to Horizon, where it's this open world, you know, checkbox.
yep,
I'm sure it's
yep,
gonna
yep,
be,
yep.
I'm sure it's gonna be great, but like, you know what I mean, like that kind of game.
It's
But
a Ubisoft,
yeah,
open world. Oh, there's a place over there that isn't grayed out. I'm gonna go over there, and then now it's grayed out. Okay, now I'm gonna come over here and gray this location out, and then I'm gonna do the main story. Yeah,
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 but
it's one of those kind of games.
it seems like we don't have a first-person shooter from PlayStation at all. It used to be Killzone. That used to be the game that they had, but they don't have anything now. And maybe now that Guerrilla has some of that clout from Horizon, if they released a new Killzone, people would be like way more on board for that game.
Yeah, they could probably be like the thing is like the average consumer doesn't look at like Guerrilla and they're like, oh, those are
It's
the
true.
guys that made Horizon, so they'd have to be like Killzone Warfare or something. I don't know,
Yeah.
Killzone End Times, made by guys that brought you Horizon Zero Dawn.
Or maybe they put a new studio on Killzone. I don't know. That
That could
seems
be it
like a
too.
possible thing. I also think like a possible thing is they put a new studio on the Uncharted series, and like they continue Uncharted, but it's not Naughty Dog anymore.
Well, then what would Naughty Dog do?
I mean, they
Whatever
made
it is, whatever it is, their
yeah,
space games. Yeah,
Last of Us, space game, whatever they want to do, because they're Naughty Dog and they could do whatever the hell they want. Um, yeah, I don't know. That as far as like predictions, that's kind of all I have for predictions. I
I,
can't.
you you hit pretty much most of them. I was thinking a new Vita because the Switch is doing so good. They might hint at that for like next year, the year after that, and it's like, interesting. And they're maybe like, hey, we know we fucked up on the first one. This one's gonna be different or something like that. Um, Doubtful, but you never know. I'm thinking new IPs. They might focus more on
Bloodborne,
indies.
Bloodborne 2, maybe
Bloodborne 2.
it's possible.
Yeah, that was really popular too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they have something in their back pocket, like to just pull out and be like, hey, I'm thinking like God of War is kind of out of the question because that game like just came out like last year, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah. The
So
year after.
maybe they could show off something from God of War, the new God of War. Who knows?
Yeah, and they will eventually because that game did so well. I
Yeah,
don't see why they wouldn't. If not this year, next year, they're definitely going to show it.
yeah, and the
There's
dev cycle for it may be quicker because
they already have everything.
they have a lot of the assets and stuff. They know the world that they're in. They're not totally remaking the game. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel the same about Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man very well could come out next year
next year probably. Yeah,
because like I mean, how much can you change? You add like Long Island to it
yeah,
or something. But I
yeah.
imagine
Or
you pretty much keep the same city and then just add to it, I imagine.
Add to it, make it look better, make
Yeah,
the physics a little better, trees different,
change the combat a bit, but yeah, there's
better quests is all I can think about on
make
that.
it make it look better. I don't know. Like, yeah, I bet that's likely that they would show that game in particular.
Yeah, absolutely.
The only one out of like left field is that Naughty Dog thing, but I doubt they'd do that since Last of Us isn't even out yet.
But it it could be
It could be out.
at the point that this thing comes out.
Yeah. Well,
So
yeah. Well, the next piece of news is last week there was a Last of Us Part 2. It's not a direct. They're called State of Plays, right? There was a
yeah.
Last of Us Part 2 State of Play. It ran for a little bit more than 20 minutes, showed extended sequences and an 8-minute gameplay section that's never been seen before.
Was it 8 minutes? 8 minutes of gameplay? I didn't watch that part. You did though.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, it was a cool thing. It was a cool event. They're getting ahead of it. The game comes out in 3 weeks. 2 weeks from Friday, and
Yeah, yeah. 2 weeks from Friday. That's what it is. Yeah.
yeah, there's been a lot of controversy around this game now.
Oh
It's
yeah.
been it's been delayed twice now, I think.
Well, yeah. That I feel was partly due to the coronavirus, but
The
that's
first time wasn't, but
no. The first time I feel like they were just
yeah, they just need more time.
over ambitious.
The second time was 100% because of the coronavirus. They even stated like this game is ready to go. And I think the big reason that they delayed it, because they could have just released it and everyone could have just bought it digitally or whatever. I think the big reason is because they want to release PlayStation 4, like actual PlayStation 4s with like Last of Us logos and stuff in tandem with the
Well,
game.
you saw that, right? They had
Yeah,
announcement where they had the controller, they had the headset, the golds, they had
yeah.
the
It's
something
it's
else.
it's a lot of missed profit for them to release during a lockdown where people
Right,
can't get that stuff. Um,
right. So the direct, not the direct, state of play, they
God damn you, Nintendo!
Super Nintendo with your good words like Joy Cons and Amiibo. Um, uh,
Wiimote.
they showed off a lot of like in world uh, screenshots, and it
Yeah,
just looks beautiful. Like screenshots of
gorgeous.
like Seattle and where are they from? Columbus, not Columbus. What is
Jackson,
this? Jackson, Mississippi. I'm
I think
thinking.
so, or
Um,
Tennessee. It doesn't matter.
there's a
It's
couple
the
of
South.
Jacksons. Yeah,
This,
there's a couple of Jacksons out there.
yeah, the
So
South.
and it looks outstanding. Like and then I watched like maybe a minute of the gameplay, and it looks just like the E3 gameplay that they showed, and it's like, wow, this is actually running like this, and it's kind of it's insane how good it looks.
A lot of the a lot of what they showed was like they kind of expanded a bit on the story, just a bit. There's it sounds like there's two new factions. One of them is like a religious sect, and
That's
the
right.
other one is more of a rebellion. And then there's like Ellie's group, which is just like they're just kind of living their life in the
Yeah, they're
middle of
just
Jackson or whatever.
regular people. Well,
Yeah,
no, because the two warring factions, that's only in Seattle.
right.
So
So
she goes
Ellie's
to
kind of
Seattle,
disconnected from all of that.
right? And
Um,
she's kind of caught in the middle of it. But
and they showed off some of that. They didn't say too much about the story. Um,
luckily,
yeah, which is good. I read all the spoilers. I won't say anything, but
you
I did
shouldn't.
I did read all the spoilers, so I kind of know a lot. Um, but yeah, I mean, with all the backlash online, I don't give a shit, dude. I'm so excited. I don't even care about the backlash online. I'm gonna play this game. I'm gonna love this game, unless I don't. But I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love this game.
Yeah, they recently today, I think they released, well, I guess it could be yesterday whenever this goes out, but today of the 1st of June, they they said that you can all the people that got the copies can give their first impressions, and every single one of them has been fantastic. I've every single one is like, this game is incredible. There's so much fighting, and like it's shocking how
Yeah.
visceral it is, and it's just like, wow.
Yeah, but that's also like you got to take that all with a grain of salt because that's also coming from like games journalists, and games journalists just like love to suck Naughty Dog's dick. Uh, but like I do too. So
Yeah,
I do too. I love them. But
that's true.
this if you look at like just playing devil's advocate here, uh like when like episode 8 came out, right? uh when there were the first screenings, everyone's like, this is a masterclass, everyone's gonna love this game,
Episode 8 of Star Wars,
of
Right?
Star Wars. Sorry, I
Okay,
should have
yeah, yeah, yeah.
clarified.
Yeah. I'm like, episode 8 of Breaking Bad, right? Yeah, absolutely.
That too, but episode 8 of Star Wars, and like Kathleen Kennedy was watching it and she's like, this is the next big thing, and then it came out and it was like super divisive, or divisive. Um like the same could be true about The Last of Us, and I feel like no matter what, if the game is perfect, this game is going to be divisive now, just because people are going to go in with preconceived notions of
Yep.
like, this game's shit or this game's amazing. It's hard to be objective when you have such strong feelings about something.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you played the first one, and we have a couple of friends who played the first one and they didn't get it. They didn't like it, and it was
Yeah, they
like,
hated it.
I don't know how you could hate that game because it was
Yeah,
done so well. But
the
we've
story
got
alone.
friends that are just like, I couldn't get into the story, I couldn't get into the characters. And it's like, what? So there are going to be people that are going to bash the game for any reason. There's going to be people out there.
They did show some of the gameplay elements, some new gameplay elements from the first one. Like they showed that Ellie can now swing from ropes, which is
Ooh,
cool. Ellie can
is,
swing
is
from
there
ropes.
is there a grappling hook?
It's not a grappling hook, but she can swing from ropes. I mean, they made Uncharted, so
Yeah.
swinging from ropes is nothing new
I
to
was
them.
just wondering if this is the year of grappling hooks in video games,
Dude,
because last year we had what
grappling
was it,
hooks are the
crossbows or
best.
something?
Dude, grappling hooks are the best because there's never a game with a grappling hook where you're like, I wish this game didn't have a grappling hook. It's always like, I'm so glad this game has a grappling hook because it's awesome.
Even with Persona Royale or whatever, Persona
Yeah,
5.
dude, it's just, I mean, that's more of just like a quick time event. You just press the button and it just zips you up. But it's still awesome just to see someone swinging around.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always good. You see, Ellie can swim now. Spoilers.
Oh
She
yeah, yeah,
she
yeah,
can
yeah.
swim now.
And play the
Uh,
guitar.
and I think the biggest like new feature of this game, other than it looking beautiful, which the first one looked beautiful, but this looks like next level, um, is the giant maps. Like the first game had a couple big maps, but like it was pretty linear, kind of small corridors a lot of the game. But this one seems like it's a bunch of giant open worlds kind of woven together.
Yeah,
Um,
and you get a
which
horse
get a
in
horse.
in some locations. I bet you it's not going to be in all locations, but
Yeah.
it'll probably be like, oh, there's a horse. You just take the horse.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
imagine there's going to be like corridor sort of areas like in the first game to get to the new bigger open world areas.
That's what I'm thinking too. They said that you can miss certain points of like the story, and like you just won't go down a certain corridor because you won't see it, and then you'll talk to your friend after it's done, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I did this, and they're like, what? I didn't even, what? Where was that? And you're like, oh, it was in this place.
That's wild.
So
I didn't actually, I don't remember that. That's wild.
yeah, yeah, they said something like that, and I think it was right before that, the state of play. Um,
So
Yeah, it looks really good, and there's a new like sneak mechanic where you can like go prone and hide in bushes, but it's not actually like, oh, they can't see you. If they walk up to you, they're gonna see you. And
yeah,
it's just
and the
like,
dogs have like a sense of smell, so they can
hmm
like smell where you were.
yeah.
Yeah,
Imagine that game on Grounded where you look like it has the trail where like you use your sense, and you're like, I forget what it's called, where you like see where everybody is behind walls, and you can see like the scent trace. It's on Grounded. You're not going to be able to see that I guarantee you. So you're just going to be like, oh shit, there's a dog right behind me. I didn't even realize, and then you're going to have to start over. But it looks really good.
Dude, I'm so excited for that game. I can feel it in my bones. Like the game, it's so close, and I can just taste it. The controversy has like not affected my excitement for this game in the slightest.
Even with the spoilers and
Yeah,
everything that you've read, you're still excited about it.
Even knowing the spoilers, because finding out like spoilers for a movie, I can understand a bit more because it's like a 2-hour thing. You find out a spoiler that's like a tenth of the movie. Like when you find out the spoilers of a video game, like that's nothing because like the game is going to be at least 20 hours long.
Right.
Like, how are they going to execute these spoilers? Like if they execute them properly, then I'm all about it. If they execute them poorly, I'm not about it. But
you
we'll see.
Still have 18 hours of a game to play.
Yeah, and I'm sure the gameplay is going to supplement for a shitty story if there is a shitty story. But I don't even think that the story is going to be shitty. Like Naughty Dog hasn't made a shitty game ever, so I don't know why now it's the time.
I can't think of one.
I mean,
Chief
Keef or whatever that game was, Keef the Thief or whatever.
That was before Jak and Daxter, and
that was before Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the game they made before Crash.
Yeah, so I don't know. I didn't play anything before that.
So the big question is though, what's going to be the better game? The Last of Us or Ghost of Tsushima?
We saw that direct. Oh god, you have direct written on this stupid thing, so I just keep saying direct. They did show the Ghost of Tsushima gameplay, and it doesn't look as good as The Last of Us. Personally, it looks
and it looks different, right? I mean,
it looks very different. Except it looks a lot like Horizon. It looks a lot like Horizon. Maybe a couple different gameplay mechanics and ways of playing and stuff like that, but it takes a lot from like The Witcher, Horizon, Assassin's Creed, that kind of gameplay. It looks like
Far Cry, yeah. I think the really cool thing about Ghost of Tsushima is the fact that they're using like the actual environment as your like directions in the game.
So the like wind and the birds and stuff
like
that.
Instead of giving you a waypoint, you have to like follow the earth and the nature and stuff, which is really cool. I also think like the whole idea of like a Western studio making a game about Japan, it's
feudal
like,
Japan,
is like sort of interesting. It's like when a Japanese developer makes a game about America. I always find that like very interesting because it's like this weird like perspective on like what someone from Japan thinks of America, and I feel like that's kind of what I feel about like Sucker Punch making a game about Japan. Because we see like games like like Japan Studios making games about Japan, or like even like Persona, where it's like a game in Japan made in Japan. Like it's cool to see like I think we could see like a potential new take on it.
Yeah, an outside source looking in. Yeah, that's one of my favorite like time periods in my favorite kind of like locations is feudal Japan, that when Tokyo was Edo and stuff like that. It was samurais, ninjas, like honor, dishonor kind of stuff. That's really interesting, and I really wanted, for the longest time, I wanted like an Assassin's Creed based in that time frame, because Assassin's Creed was the only one going back in time.
It was like such an obvious one like too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like so obvious that they didn't do it.
Yeah, and they still haven't. It's like you get all this really cool, rich environments and culture, but they never did it. Instead, they're going to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is cool too. Like I'm all for that too. But
yeah, I feel like the two things that Assassin's Creed like everyone was begging for was like the early America and feudal Japan. And they gave us America, but they never gave us Japan.
That was one of the worst ones, in my opinion.
It totally was, dude. I think in everyone's opinion,
it was really bad. It was really bad.
I think like in terms of which game is going to be better, I feel like Ghost of Tsushima is potentially going to be like the more fun game.
Yeah.
Whereas like The Last of Us is going to be like more of like an experience. You know
It's
what
gonna
I
be
mean?
it's gonna be a story. It's gonna be
It's a
like,
story.
wow,
It's still
that
fun, but
impacted.
like,
Yeah.
just by hearing about like the violence of the game, like some of the like early reviews, like there's embargoes, so we haven't heard much, but like some of the early reviews are like it's so brutal that like every time you kill someone, you feel it. I don't think
And
we're gonna get that level of like depth in Ghost of Tsushima, but
yeah,
like
not probably not at all. But it looks gorgeous, and it probably plays really well,
yeah.
and it looks like the controls are really good, and you'll have a lot of fun with like photo mode if that's what you're into.
Yeah, and I think there's
You
a
know.
place for both of those games. So I think the argument of like which game's going to be better is just sort of it doesn't matter. Uh,
Yeah. Well, I mean, in all honesty, nothing really matters. But like if you were to put these into, because I wonder if there's going to be one this year. If you had the video game awards and these two were up for nominees for the best game, which one do you think would take it? Just based off of what we've seen.
do yeah, dude, The Last of Us got it is gonna take it. Like, how
Yeah.
can it not?
Yeah.
Like, without even playing it, like I know that game is gonna win every award, and like maybe Final Fantasy will be in the talks, but like
Yeah, but no, I don't think Final Fantasy will
it's not The
hold
Last
up
of Us. And
to the other ones.
dude, it says a lot about PlayStation that like every time they release a game, it's like up for best game every single time, and then there's Xbox who hasn't released anything of note in like years.
What was their last game that was like,
Gears
wow,
5.
the
I mean,
Gears. Yeah, but it was Gears, you played it.
yeah,
It was Gears. It's
yeah,
fine.
it's
It's a game, you know.
Gears 5 was better than 4. I haven't beat Gears 5, but I played it and like it was better than 4, but like it was nothing special.
Yeah.
Where like they took God of like you know what Gears needs? Gears needs like a refresh like God of War got. Like a totally fresh coat of paint, new take, new style.
New
S
perspective.
Someone like a Corey Barlog who made God of War, like they need someone like that to like come in
Yep,
and like really like bring some life into that project. Um,
absolutely.
you mentioned Game Awards. Do you think we're
hmm
gonna have Game Awards this
I
year?
I hope so. I really hope so because they usually announce a whole bunch of games around that time. They'll have like, oh, this is
Yeah, Jeff Keighley.
exclusive, or yeah, Jeff Keighley's been saying he's gonna do like a 3 month
Do you think that's his?
thing,
He's
and
gonna
it's
do
like,
that instead of Game Awards? Like that's like his thing
no,
now instead of Game Awards, or do you
no.
think?
I think he'll always do Game Awards because I feel like that's his baby. It's the
I,
Game Awards.
I wonder if he's gonna even do it this year, and I wonder like if there is Game Awards, if they're actually gonna like do it in a building, or if it's just gonna be like Jeff Keighley like rambling off some shit, and then he's like, "Here's a trailer," and then
And then
like,
he goes, yeah, he'll go to like location, like,
yeah,
and joining us from Sacramento,
yeah,
this
he's like,
game company,
I've
yeah,
got Neil Druckmann on Zoom call here. How
yeah,
you doing, Neil?
yeah, exactly,
You won the best
exactly.
game. I feel like that might be how it is this year. I don't know, man. I wonder like I have no idea with all of this stuff like how long it's going to be before anything comes back. Like we went to PAX last year, can't go this year. I mean they haven't canceled it, have they?
No, they canceled it, yeah.
They did.
Well,
I don't
maybe
think they
not.
canceled
They
PAX
I don't
West.
they don't PAX West. I don't think so because
They
that's in
never really
September and the dates haven't been released yet.
they never
So
even released the dates. They might not. They might just be like, yeah, there is no PAX
it's
West this year.
yeah, they canceled PAX Prime,
Yeah. Well, it's PAX East. PAX Prime is PAX West, but
isn't
yeah,
it?
I
You're
think so.
right.
Yeah.
No,
They
I,
don't call it
I,
Prime anymore though. It's PAX East, PAX West.
okay. Well, they canceled PAX South, the board game one, the in Texas.
Oh right. Yeah.
I forget what that Unplugged. That's what it's called. PAX Unplugged. They canceled that one, and I know that they. I don't for sure know if they actually canceled the one in Boston, but um, I think they did. But they've been canceling everything, dude. It sucks, and that's like one of the biggest impacts is this whole coronavirus stuff. Like one of my favorite games got canceled because of it. The Pod
Yeah.
Racer.
Yeah.
It was supposed to come out on Switch, and then like the day before, they're like, you know what? We can't release Star Wars Pod Racer because coronavirus. And I was like, I
Yeah, like the day
don't want to
before.
play. Yeah, the day before. It's like I don't want to play Animal Crossing anymore. I'm kind of bored. There's nothing. There's no updates, and I've done everything. I have a lot of the
Hot take.
items.
Hot take. Animal Crossing is trash. Hot take.
It, it was fine for the time that it came out, and
Yeah,
when
it's kind
when
of
they
perfect timing. Yeah.
when they release updates, I'll go back to it. But it's it's chores on your PlayStation on your Switch. It's chores on your Switch. That's all it is. It's like okay.
um, I wonder. I wonder. Like, I don't want to make any speculations about next year because, like, who knows? We could get a second wave of this bullshit. Who knows? We could get a cure tomorrow. For all we know.
I
So
don't.
it's hard to make any speculations. But one that I do want to speculate about is E3. Say there's no pandemic next year, and
Right.
do you think we'll see E3 come back, or you think E3 is just done?
I think there will be some sort of E3. I think it'll be closer to a PAX situation with not the big guys. Not Sony probably won't be there. Microsoft won't be there. I mean, uh, EA hasn't been there for the past 3 years.
But they have
They have their own
it's
what
like across the
EA
street.
Play
Yeah.
across the street, but I don't think that'll happen. I think it'll shift kind of more towards the directs that they're doing that the Nintendo has been
So like
doing
as far as
really well.
conferences, there won't be conferences, but like in your eyes, like it won't be conferences. It'll be like just like a show floor and
It yeah, yeah, it'll be like a show floor. There'll be like panels and stuff, obviously, but I don't think they'll be like
so almost
you
more
know
like a Comic-Con sort of.
yeah. Just because I don't remember what the company is that puts on E3, but they have to make money somehow, and they're gonna try to
Is it the ESA or the
ESA. That sounds right.
something like
But
that?
ECS something.
I
Um, the
could
but
look it up.
they'll go on year after year after year until there's nothing left because as you and me, we've never been. We would love to go, even if it's kind of dying. I would love to go. Um, but yeah, I feel like they'll put it on for as long as they can until they stop making profit. Until it's like nobody wants to go here anymore. It's not releasing any new info.
Yeah,
It's costing
it's
us money just to have it.
it's made by the ESA, which
ESA.
which is interesting because ESA is also the ones who are like in charge of doing all the like this game is rated M and they're the
I
so
thought that was
like
ESRB.
you might be right. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just dumb. Yeah, I'm dumb.
You are dumb. Stupid. Stupid dumb. But yeah, I feel like it would go on until you just can't anymore. And then something will take its place because
I'm sorry. I'm doing research on the ESA right now.
well, I'm trying to fill the void. But Jeff Keighley has like stepped away from doing his Coliseum show for E3, and he's like doing his own thing, his own E3 thing. And the Video Game Awards are kind of the conferences from E3 anyway. So that might just be Video Game Awards. Jeff Keighley is everything game announcements.
So
But
just real quick, ESA.
okay,
They're like, I guess they did get involved with like legislation as far, and they like kind of helped create the ESRB,
okay,
just so like the government want to get involved in rating games. So I mean, like they're an important group to, and like I'm sure this is their number one source of income is E3. And that's why I was like researching it so much because like it is important because like without E3 and that income, what happens to the ESA? What happens to like these groups that like kind of help protect gaming from like government legislation, which doesn't seem to be too much of an issue these days, but it kind of is. It's becoming, over the past year, it's become more of an issue, kind of more than ever, I guess, with like loot boxes and stuff. There's been a
Yeah.
lot of legislation involved there, so I
Well,
wonder.
I feel like sometimes that is necessary, especially with the loot box controversy.
For sure.
Like some I don't want to point fingers, but some companies are like, we're going to put loot boxes in everything because these kids have their parents' credit cards and their parents don't know what's going on, and they'll just feed us
Yeah.
thousands of dollars a year, and it doesn't matter if you know the average gamer doesn't give us any money because these whales over here are just
Yeah. But
that's all we need is
like
the whales. We don't need any
the
of the fish.
ESA can come in with the ESRB or whatever, and they can decide like, well, how about instead of letting the government decide this, we decide this and we create our own rating system. And that's like why now when there's in-game purchases, you see that when you buy it and it's on the case now. Or
Right.
they could make the call that if a game has like loot boxes and it's like gambling, they could say, well, that's enough for you to have an M rating, you know?
Right.
So your
Yeah.
SpongeBob game that has, loot boxes in it is now rated M because it has loot boxes. That could be a thing. Who knows? Um, but I think that's probably always better than just like having the government get involved.
Well, the
Um,
thing about that though, the thing about the oh, my internet is unstable apparently.
I still hear you
Um,
just fine. So you're
okay,
good.
good. Um, the thing about that is at a certain point, loot boxes become gambling, and that was like the whole thing a couple of years ago. Was like at one point the government has to be like, this is what gambling is, and then the ESRB is like, okay, so in the fact of this is gambling, it's gambling in video games, and we can't have that because children cannot gamble legally. You know,
In a lot
so
of states, we can't gamble legally. So
right, a lot of states can't gamble, so
yeah,
it's yeah,
including our
it's
state that we live
yeah,
in. So
it's a very dangerous thing to
yeah, it's a
give
touchy
to a
subject
child.
for sure.
Even
Yeah. No, and
even
I
people.
agree with that 100%. Like, take loot boxes out. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like E3 next year is they're gonna attempt to do something. They're gonna like try something. But like you said, I don't think Sony's gonna be there because Sony wasn't gonna be there anyway this year.
I don't think they're going to be there ever again,
I think they
unless something else comes. Not E3. It'll have to be something
yeah,
else.
maybe Jeff Keighley's thing. Who knows? Um, but like I think they could probably bamboozle Xbox into doing it because especially like last year we were all talking because Xbox was the only one there. We're like, well, dude, Xbox has the floor,
And
like
they're good too. They
yeah,
were phenomenal
it
last
was
year.
yeah, and it's kind of it's a good look for them when they're the only ones there.
Hmm.
Nintendo hasn't really been, they haven't done conferences in a long time. They've been on the floor though, but
Yeah, they're
yeah,
always. I think they're always on the floor.
yeah, they're always there, but they're never there.
They don't have a
uh,
conference
yeah, big conference.
presentation.
Yeah, I could see them trying to do something next year, like Xbox does a thing, maybe Bethesda does a thing next year. But I think that might be it, and they might start to like transform it into a more just like this is a geek centric gaming thing, sort of like how Comic-Con started out as like a big expo for comics, and then sort of turned into something more. I feel like this could be a thing that starts out as a gaming convention that turns into something more, something bigger. Well,
And
not bigger, but something different. Like I don't know. It's hard to say. I feel like they're not gonna just let it die. They're not gonna just like let that brand die. So
no,
they're gonna fight until they can't fight anymore to keep that thing alive. And if that
right.
means like making some sort of shitty conference that they do every year, that's probably what they're gonna do. So
Yeah, and I forgot what I was going to say, but go on. Go ahead. I had something in my head, and then as soon as I opened my mouth, I was like, and it's gone. It's gone.
well, I think to end the show, we'll go. We got one more news story. Last last week, I think the MPD group announced the top selling games of April, and top 10 selling video games, retail and digital. Number 1, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Square Enix.
This was just last month.
This was April, yeah.
Okay, so last month this is the games. Okay,
Well,
continue.
Well, it's June now, so.
Well, okay, well, okay. So the best-selling games in the 1 month of April 2020.
Best selling games of April 2020.
Okay.
Top 10 selling games, retail and digital. Final Fantasy VII Remake was the number 1 game. Number 2 was Call of Duty Modern Warfare from Activision. Number 3 was Animal Crossing New Horizons from Nintendo.
Now, with that one's interesting because I don't remember when Animal Crossing came out. Was that in April?
Came out in March, actually.
Okay. So I'm kind of surprised that isn't number 1 if it came out in April.
Well, the really interesting thing about Nintendo is all of these games, it accounts for digital and physical, except for the Nintendo games. It's only physical sales. So technically, Animal Crossing could very well be the number 1 game.
Wow, yeah.
For whatever reason,
it probably could be too. Like I don't see why it wouldn't be.
For whatever reason, Nintendo doesn't like to give out their digital sale records. So I don't know what that's all about, but yeah, for all we know, Animal Crossing could very well be the number 1 game. It probably is. I think most people buy digital on Nintendo.
Yeah, so. I bought it digitally. Yeah,
I did
absolutely.
too. Yeah. Number 4 is NBA 2K20 from Take-Two.
Okay.
Number 5 is Grand Theft Auto 5. Go figure.
Still
killing it. Number 6 is Resident Evil 3 from Capcom, the remake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Number 7 is Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered.
The second one.
Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, yeah. Number 8 is MLB The Show 20. Number 9 is Madden NFL 20. And number 10 is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Freaking Rockstar still doing pretty good.
And then the second list here that I have on this document is the top 10 selling video games of the year by the end of April. So like these are the best selling games throughout the entire year. At number 1, it's Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Number 2 is Animal Crossing New Horizons. And once again, that is not counting digital sales. So that is probably the number 1 spot, but we don't know for sure.
I would believe it.
Yeah,
I would believe it.
Number 3 is Final Fantasy VII, NBA 2K20 at number 4. Number 5 is Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I haven't heard good things about that.
Me either, but totally out of the blue. I guess people just love Dragon Ball. Number 6 is MLB The Show 20, which makes sense because there's no sports right now, so people are probably just like,
That's a good point.
Which that's also wild that MLB The Show 20 got on there because that is a console exclusive game.
That sure is.
So to make it to number 6 while being a console exclusive,
only on the Sony PlayStation. You can't even get it on the PC.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, that is wild.
Number 7 is Grand Theft Auto 5. It never goes away.
It's until Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, it'll be always up there.
We've tried to kill it. We can't kill it. It doesn't go away.
It's like a bad mosquito that doesn't die to swatting.
Number 8 is Resident Evil 3. Number 9 is Madden NFL 20. And number 10 is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
That is interesting.
Yeah,
Mario Kart 8, that has been around since the Wii U.
Well, I think Mario Kart will always just kind of stay in there because when you buy a Switch, you buy Mario Kart. That's just, or you buy Nintendo, you buy Mario Kart.
But again, that's only physical. So people are buying Mario Kart 8 physically.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like, what? This has been out for so long. I guarantee you it's still $60, $55,
yeah. Dude, I can't imagine what those numbers are if they include digital sales because I guarantee everyone is buying games digitally on the Switch.
Oh yeah.
There's no reason not to at this point.
Nope.
Yeah. But I don't know. That's the list. That's the MPD list. I got nothing to add to that. Do you have any last words before I kill you?
Oh, oh shit. Well,
It's
before you
escalating.
kill me,
Sorry.
I don't know if you're interested in, but I read somewhere, and it just popped up in my head. It
Okay.
was like I just remembered that they are going to have some sort. Nintendo is going to have some sort of direct or just an announcement about the Pokemon DLC
Oh yeah, when's that?
either tomorrow or Thursday. I don't remember which one it was,
I
but
wonder.
sometime this week.
I wonder if
I
they cancel that.
I haven't seen the news on it recently. It popped up last night. I saw it last night, and I'm like, "Ooh, that's kind of interesting. I'll have to tune into that." And I
I
haven't
also
seen anything on it,
I
which is
also
quite
think like Nintendo just like doesn't give a fuck. They're like, we'll just it's just Pokemon, dude. We
good.
don't care.
Nobody gives it. No. There's no Black Lives Matter in Pokemon. Everybody's equal. It's Pokemon. Pokemon don't matter in Pokemon. Yeah.
It's like,
So
well, you're protesting. What could you need more than a Nintendo Switch?
and
Well,
while you're walking, and you
yeah,
got it like written Black Lives Matter, and you're just playing like
yeah.
it's like a little
That's your
sign.
sign.
That's not a bad idea.
That's a great idea.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, I like that. Just hopefully it doesn't get broken or looted or stolen or whatever. Stay safe out there, everybody. If you're out there protesting, stay safe out there.
Yeah, don't get hurt.
Yeah,
We need
and
viewers, and we can't get viewers if you're hurt. So
well, maybe we can if you're in like the hospital and you're like, I'm bored of everything in the subscriptions. Let's see what else is out there, and
see what
maybe
these
we'll get
losers
lucky.
with PlayStation hats are up to.
You know what? Next week I'll wear something else. I'll wear a
Yeah,
Xbox hat if I can find one.
my Atari shirt.
I have an Atari hat.
Well,
But
thanks for
yeah,
joining me, Nicholas.
absolutely, man.
It's
Absolutely.
been a pleasure. Our first episode, hopefully the first of many to come. I'm sure next week we'll have plenty more to talk about.
We'll see
Uh,
where everything's at by next week. It
yeah,
could just be a short one. But yeah, that was
dude,
good. Thanks
that
for
was good.
having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. Check out the Jake and Corey podcast every Monday. This show will be posted every Tuesday. Also, last week I posted an interview with William Moranci. Check that out.
Cool
More fun.
dude. Check him out. Cool
Yeah,
dude.
check
He
out
does
his
some
content too. He's awesome.
interesting stuff.
Yeah, he's super awesome. More fun stuff to come on the channel as well. So it's been
Keep an eye out.
real.
It's been real. High five.